Hey, beautiful souls.
Welcome to Bitter2Beautiful. I am Coach Charmin D, energetic, heartfelt, and always keeping it real.
And I'm Coach Lynette, more reserved, tenacious, honest, and a little funny.
Together, we're here to guide you through transforming your bitterness
Into something truly beautiful. Join us on this journey of healing and empowerment.
Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another empowering episode of Bitter2Beautiful. I am your host, Coach Charmin D. Today's topic is about resilience, cultivating resilience, the Bitter2Beautiful mindset shift. Resilience is not just bouncing back, but raising stronger. We're going to explore how cultivating a resilient mindset can help you navigate life challenges and transform bitterness into beauty. Coach Lynette?
Welcome back, beautiful people. I'm Coach Lynette, and here to guide us on this and I'm here to help be your guide for this empowering journey. Resilience isn't just about enduring, it's about thriving and creating a bitter to beautiful mindset shift, transforming changes into catalysts for growth. Together, we're going to uncover how shifting our mindset can change the way we face life's inevitable ups and downs, turning bitter experiences into beautiful victories. I love that. So let's start off with the scripture for this episode, and it is James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy, for you know that when your faith is tested, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. This reminds us that challenges are opportunities for growth, helping us build resilience and maturity. And then we have 2 Corinthians 4, verses 8 through 9. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. This shows that even in the face of adversity, we are equipped to rise stronger with God by our side. So, Coach Charmin, what does resilience truly mean? Well, resilience isn't about avoiding struggles, but rather about growing stronger through them. It's the ability to recover from setback and adapt to change with faith and perseverance. Coach Charmin?
Yes, you have hit it right on point. Resilience it's definitely not just about bouncing back from challenges. It's also about growing stronger through adversity. It involves learning from difficult experiences, adapting to the change, and finding ways to keep it moving forward, not backwards. Even when things feel overwhelming, like at times happen in my life, you have to know what you need to do to keep it moving, to keep it pushing. You can't get stuck. So resilience is about maintaining hope and perseverance. Hope and perseverance, trusting that setbacks are a part of the journey through growing. Sometimes you're going to go through setbacks. That's just life. It's also about building emotional, mental, and spiritual strength, allowing you to handle life's ups and downs with grace and determination. Ultimately, resilience empowers you to transform obstacles into opportunities for personal development. Coach Lynette, now let's take this moment to reflect on resilience and our few thought-provoking questions. Let's take a moment to reflect on resilience with a few thought-provoking questions. Can you think of a time when a difficult experience helped you grow stronger and more resilient? And the follow-up question is, and we can repeat it if needed, what did that experience teach you about the ability to overcome challenges? Coach Lynette?
Hmm. Well, I've been through a number of obstacles where I've had to be resilient. Many people, um, especially in my adult years, have always said that I was resilient, and I did not like it because that meant that I was going through a lot. And it's like I don't want this. But now I understand like fully what it means, kind of sort of having an awakening as to what happening, what resilience really is. And I would say, as an example, I've dealt with a number of toxic people in my life, whether leadership, whether friendship, whether colleagues, and there are some people who see you coming, see you for who and what you are, and it intimidates them. And I've learned over time how people will react to, just by watching and observing others, I've learned over time how people respond when they are intimidated. At times, this is how bullies are formed. Bullies, I believe that people don't intentionally become mean. They see things, they become jealous, they don't know how to respond, and so they get mean or become an aggressor. And I've experienced that a lot in my life, until I learned how to not become the aggressor, but be a lot more assertive and setting boundaries and letting my yes be yes and my no be no. I've learned to overcome because, when it comes to people who will power trip or become a bully in one way, shape, or form, they will try to make you shrink back. And I've shrunk back for most of my life. And now that I'm at a place where I just got tired of it, I've learned how to bounce back and overcome that by opening my mouth, by finding the words to say. I always talk about being effective in your speech and the things that you do and the things that you say. Now, I don't want to be aggressive with an aggressor. So I've learned to be calm and just speak to people. When I studied psychology, and one of the things that you're taught is, if someone is yelling, don't yell with them, because it's just going to get louder and louder and the conversation is going to get worse and worse. So you go in with a calmer attitude, a calmer tone. Even if you have to repeat the same message, it's important that we learn to bounce back from those moments that are meant to keep you down, and empower other people so they feel more powerful, making you powerless. So I would say to anyone in that situation, figure out who you are, know your worth, know your value, and then you'll be able to bounce back from these things and these people and these situations that may arise in your life, because they will come, no matter how strong you are. No matter how weak you think you may come, you are rather. I would strongly suggest that you learn how to strengthen that. And things happen for a season, a reason, a season, and hopefully you don't go through for a lifetime. But it, just as the verse said, we're supposed to count it all joy when we face obstacles, because this leads to growth, right? You learn from the lessons, good, bad, and ugly. You learn from those lessons and you bounce back. You take those lessons, you learn it, you apply it, and you pay it forward by helping someone else to get past whatever it is that you went through. Coach Charmin, did you want to add something to that?
So I've had strained a couple of, I want to say it may have been about a year ago, or maybe no, about 2 years ago, when I was going through a situation in my life that was devastating, and to me, I felt like I was never going to get past it, but I was able to, because God is able. And God was dropping words in my spirit, like, he said I was worthy, he said I was courageous, he said I was faithful, and then he said I was resilient. And I immediately, I told the story before, but I think it's worth repeating. I immediately sent my mentor the word for the day. And I'm like, God said I'm resilient. What is he talking about? No, I'm not. And she's like, wait, did you look up what resilience means? And I'm like, no, but I'm not resilient. I immediately, and because maybe I was in a vulnerable state, I felt like at that time I was not bouncing back, that I was going through. I didn't know how to get through, but I was just going through. But God sees all things and he knows all things. So he saw the part in me that kept pushing. I couldn't feel it. I just know that I was going through it. But he saw the part in me that was bouncing back from the pain and the feelings of being unworthy and not enough and not having a voice. And I would say to anyone that when know what the word of God says. And it says that he is your strength when you're weak. So we sometimes avoid being weak because we don't want to be vulnerable. But sometimes, all the time, be mindful of the fact that when you are weak, God is strong, and that all things are possible through him. So I say this again, I didn't know what resilience meant back then, but now I know. And it's definitely an opportunity for you to bounce back and not be stuck in your space, because stuck equates bitterness, and bitterness is bitterness, and it's bad. And God doesn't want any of us bitter. He wants us beautiful. Coach Lynette?
That, yeah, he wants us beautiful, and when you bounce back, right? If that'll come. So let's move on. Sorry, to the application steps. Application step number 1 is to reframe your setback as a growth opportunity. So one of the most effective ways to build resistance is by reframing setbacks. Instead of seeing them as failures, view them as lessons, right? That's very important. So the next time you face a setback, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Because everything in life is a lesson. We just have to choose what that lesson is, right? There's always a lesson in everything. You should learn something every day, whether it's small or whether it's big. The outcome is that this mindset shift will help you grow stronger and more adaptable, making it easier to handle challenges in the future. Proverbs 24:16 says, "The godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. But one disaster is enough to overthrow the wicked." This proverb underscores the idea of resilience by emphasizing the determination to rise after each fall, which is a key trait for overcoming life's challenges. Application number 2, build emotional resilience through prayer and reflection. Yes, I have had to do this on many occasions because prayer and reflection are vital tools for emotional resilience. Leaning into God's presence provides strength and guidance through difficult times. I am a witness. Dedicate time each day for prayer, asking God to help you stay strong and resilient through challenges. If you can turn on the TV, if you can go on social media, if you can walk down a block, if you can go to the store, surely we can manage to spend time with our Creator every day. The outcome is regular prayer will build emotional resilience, keeping your spirit grounded even during life's storms. And I would say throughout the last couple of years, I have been going through a lot. But what saved me is spending time. I call it spending time with the Master. It just going into prayer, just reading the Bible and getting understanding has helped me tremendously, especially emotionally. The Bible talks about hiding the word in your heart. And when you read it, and I would say if you start off with the Psalms and Proverbs a day, there are 31 Proverbs and 150 Psalms. And when you read a chapter a day and watch your life change, watch your outlook change, watch your wisdom grow, watch how you're strengthened. And when you do that, you will be resilient through prayer, reflection, and reading the word. Philippians 4 verses 6 through 7 says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus." Coach Sharman?
Wow, that is some good information. Yes. To build your emotional resilience, being spiritually grounded is very key. I happen to pray this one particular song over my family, over my life consistently, but one of the first two scriptures in this particular psalm is what keeps me grounded, because it is the most important scriptures. It says, "He who dwells," it's Psalm 91. It says, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge. He is my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Those two scriptures keep it together. Now, the whole psalm is good, so you definitely should read the whole psalm every day over your life, over your family. But being in the secret place of the Most High, that's like what Sister Lynette says. Being in the secret place is you spending time with the Lord at His feet, praying and listening to hear Him give you guidance. That is very important, and it's key to your resilience. Believe me.
That's key. You said something that I did not say, and that's listening, right? Just as, you're having, I heard this the other day, if you're having a conversation with someone, you expect them to listen to you. Now, if you're having a conversation with God through prayer, don't you think that He expects you to listen to Him too? So even when you pray, sit back and just wait a minute, and He'll speak, whether through His word and sometimes His audible voice. But if you wait, another verse said, "Wait on the Lord, and they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Wait
on the Lord.
Wait on Him.
Wait on the Lord. The next application is surround yourself with positive support. Resilience grows when you have a strong support system. Surrounding yourself with positive, encouraging people help you to stay uplifted during hard times. The action: evaluate your inner circle and seek out individuals who support and encourage you to stay resilient. The outcome: a strong support system keeps you grounded and focused, allowing you to maintain a resilient mindset. If I can say, one of the communities that has kept, it's like the Aaron and Her when they were fighting that battle, holding up their arms. I find this in the Dr. Tavis's room, 5 a.m. When we're listening to prayers and we're praising and worshiping, and then she brings a word. And then when we get in the resourceologist room, that is the room or the stage that has given most of us back our voices. That is a community of encouragers, because first of all, there's so many of us, and that it's never a point where we're overwhelming each other. When something is going on, we're encouraging each other, we're praying for each other. I had an incident just recently when something was going on with my daughter who was having a baby, and all I had to do is just tell one person, and it literally got to everybody. So having and surrounding yourself with a positive community that's going to hold your arms up when you need them is very, very key. Sister Lynette, Coach Lynette, do you have anything to say about that before I go to the next application?
I do. I've been reading Exodus, and I just told two of my friends yesterday that it's like a movie to me. And you mentioned Aaron and her, and along with Moses, they helped to hold Moses's arms up when his arms grew tired. But he had a work to do, and Aaron and her came along and said, we're going to help you simply by holding up your arms until the sun went down. And we all need an Aaron and a her when we get weary and we get tired to complete the work that we're supposed to do on this earth. The work you're supposed to do in ministry, in your business, at your job. So I don't know, but I was led to say, don't do this alone. We can all be resilient, but don't do this work alone if you don't have to. Sometimes you may have to write down a vision alone, but don't do the work alone. Find you an Aaron and a her.
Yep. Aaron and a her, really important. The fourth application is celebrate the small victories. Resilient isn't just about big comebacks. It's also about celebrating small victories along the way. These moments build confidence and keep you moving forward. The action: identify small wins in your daily life and celebrate them. Whether it's completing a task or handling a challenging better than before. The outcome: celebrating these small victories will boost your confidence and reinforce a resilience mindset. Coach Lynette?
This is really good. We want to celebrate the small victories. If you just focus on the negativity, on whatever that may look like, then it will be harder. You kind of set yourself back to bounce back. Which leads us to our next question, Coach Charmin. What are some practical steps that you can take to cultivate more resilience in your daily life? And how can you begin applying these steps to face current challenges with a resilient mindset?
Good question. First, you start each day by practicing gratitude. Be grateful. Reflecting on the positive aspects of life, even in the difficult times. Somebody said this the other day, and I heard it, and it sat with me. They said that God is the God of the mountains and the valleys, which means the ups and the downs, the struggles and the happiness and the pain. And He is the God of both. And because He is, if you trust in Him, if you seek Him, know that He's already prepared you for what you're going through. So back to this. Keeping gratitude journeys shifts your focus from challenges to appreciation, building emotional resilience. What's often missing today is developing a healthy coping mechanism. Can I just say that again? Let me say that again. Healthy coping mechanisms is missing today. I don't want to say who it's missing from. I just want to say it is missing today. When faced with stress or adversity, engaging in calming activities like prayer, meditation, or exercising helps to manage emotions and stress and strengthen helps to manage emotions and strengthens resiliency. If I could just go back to the coping piece for a second, what I've learned and what I've realized, and again, I with the current generations, I don't want to say Z, J, V, or millennial. I just want to say that I feel that there was a generations past that understood how to cope. So when something went on, when there was an emotion that they couldn't handle, there was a coping mechanism in place for them to kind of get past it. I find more recently that is lacking. So I'm saying to whoever's listening, find a healthy coping mechanism, because the word of God says that we will have trials and tribulations in life. He says it's clearly in the word. But the person who get past that, who can push past that with the help of the Lord, who get the crown of glory. I know I'm mixing up that scripture, but you get my drift. Know that you're going to go through things. But when you trust in the Lord and you hold on to the promises of the Lord, He's going to be there with you, because He will never leave you or forsake you. But you have to find ways to cope, because life be lifing. Coach Lynette?
I would have to say that I have a different opinion as of late regarding coping mechanisms. I've found that coping mechanisms, depending on how you use them, can serve as a band-aid for issues that we have, because we learn to deal with it in the moment, to get us through the moment. But that's not getting the healing that you need so that it won't repeat. Whatever that lesson was. So learning to heal, learning to get to the root of the problem. And it's not easy, and it can be scary for some when you get to the root of whatever the issue may be, whether it be person, place, or thing, or people, places, and things. It's important that we find out the why. Because let's just say you're upset with someone. The root of it may not be that person. They may have triggered something from your past, whether it be another relationship, a conversation, a word, whatever that may be. And if you just cope through it, so coping to me would look like, oh, here we go again. Okay, let me show face. Let me not snap, but I'll be okay, or I'll walk away from this situation. That is coping. And with coping, you're not really dealing with the matter at hand. It's important that we learn how to have difficult conversations and learn to mature in those conversations. There's nothing wrong with being honest. And I think these days that people are afraid to be honest with one another. Honesty does not mean that you have to be nasty or rude. It means that you're sharing your opinion. But we also have to be able to receive honesty in return. One of the things that I love about Coach Sharman and I's relationship is that we are able to be very frank with one another and express how we feel. And even if there's offense, we'll say, I'm offended, or I'm hurt, or I felt this way or that way. And we both take the time to listen. And then, eventually by the end of the conversation, we're laughing and we got through. But it's not a band-aid. We're actually listening to one another and sharing. So that's an example of bouncing back, where there's two people that actually care about one another, that actually are taking the time and want to grow this relationship. And let me be clear, it's a sisterhood and a friendship, right? And we don't build in relationships in that way. It's very few far in between where you see friendships that last through adversity. It's uncommon. Everybody, oh, I'm moving on, or you kick rocks, or whatever it may be. Some relationships are really just worth fighting for. Because listen, quite frankly, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That can be relationships, that can be your job, that can be your home, your family, whatever it may be. But resilience is actually bouncing back, not bouncing back to go back again. It's bouncing forward. And that's what we have to understand, that coping is not just about putting a band-aid for the moment. It's actually for the moment. That is what coping is. It's for that moment or for that specific situation. But if you find those situations are repeating itself, it's time to get to the root of that. You can do it through prayer. You can do it through therapy. You can do it through biblical counsel, pastoral counsel. But get to the root of it. And I'm telling you from my own experience, it doesn't always feel good, because at the end of the day, the fingers that you may be pointing at somebody else is 3 fingers pointing right back at you, and you may be the root, which is difficult to feel and difficult to hear as well.
Yeah. I do believe that there are some unhealthy ways of coping. And I believe that's exactly what you described, Coach Lynette, when you were stating that, you don't want to continuously go through a repeating cycle of coping through something, and then you're still constantly going through the same thing over and over again with no resolve. I believe that, and I think what I was referring to as coping, I was referring to exercising, talking to friends, practicing mindfulness, not to avoid the problem, but to have a conversation. Because sometimes we completely shut down. We don't want to talk. We don't want to conversate. And it's like it becomes a mental thing. And again, I don't want to say which generation that's showing up in, but it becomes a mental thing. And there's no even getting to the core or getting to the root of it, because we can't get past it. So healthy coping would be dealing with it head on, but knowing that you have to deal with it head on, not just pushing it to the side and letting it fester and then put you in a place where you're bitterness. So I do agree. And I do agree that there can be unhealthy coping, and there can be a way to cope healthy if you're working towards getting to the root of the situation and not just letting it fester. Coach Lynette.
Okay, so yeah, so don't just, okay, let's clarify that. Coping, like I said, is temporary. It's a temporary fix. But we want to heal, we want to transform, we want to get to the root of the issues. If you need to cope for a moment, I'm not saying that you should not cope. I'm saying it's not a long-term answer. It's not going to get you the resolve that you need or may be looking for. So let's talk some more. So the role of faith in building resilience is that faith plays a key role in resilience. Trusting God's plan and His promises help you rise above circumstances, knowing that everything works together for your good, as stated in Romans 8:28. Developing a resilient mindset involves shifting your perspective from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this? This shift empowers you to turn adversity into opportunities for growth. And why is resilience essential for personal growth? Well, without resilience, it's easy to stay stuck in bitterness or defeat. But with resilience, you learn to thrive and move forward, creating a life filled with purpose, healing, and inner strength. Coach Charmin?
Thanks, Coach Lynette. Here are some interesting statistics on resilience. Harvard Business Review reports that resilient people are 60% more likely to to be engaged at work, and 100% less likely to experience burnout than those who struggle with resilience. American Psychology Associates found that people who actively practice resilience building techniques such as maintaining positive social connection and practicing mindfulness report a 30% reduction in stress levels. Ooh, okay. According to Forbes, individual who builds resilience through regular stress managing practices like mindfulness or exercise experience 50% improvement in their overall well-being and emotional regulation. I'm saying that right. Psychology Today states that resilient people are 70% more likely to have a positive outlook on life and a stronger ability to bounce back from personal or professional setbacks. Coach Lynette, what are your thoughts about these stats?
I actually like Psychology Today. It has a lot of good information on there. And I just like psychology. I like to know how people think, why they think that way, and I guess it's a mix of psychology and sociology because I study people. I'm very observant. I'm quiet for the most part. So when one part of your senses aren't used as much, the others become stronger. So I use my eyes to see a lot that's happening around me. But yes, it helps with regular stress management. Working out helps to build your body, have your body snap back, right? And it's also for your mind as well. You're releasing the hormones that are needed to release, and it makes you stronger, right? A lot of the things that we do, the things that we eat, working out, all have impact on our overall well-being. So it's important that if you don't consider yourself to be resilient, it's time to find the ways that you can bounce back. If you're the Debbie Downer of the group, if you are the one that brings that cloud with you, or maybe like Eeyore just a little bit, it's time to hang around some happy people. It's time to hang around some positive people. It's time to listen. There was one point in time I knew after taking final exams in college, I would find a comedy to go and sit down by myself, and I was probably the loudest one laughing, and it probably wasn't even that funny, but it was the relief that I needed after a stressful moment. Find whatever is healthy and beneficial to your body that will allow you to feel better so that you can bounce back. At the end of the day, speaking with some friends this week, I was sharing a situation where I could have easily gotten angry or shown a different response than my norm. And they were like, well, you're so calm. Like, why are you so calm? Because I've decided that I will choose to bounce back. I will choose to not get stressed about something that doesn't belong to me to get stressed out about any longer. So it's about also making a choice that you don't want to be a certain way anymore, and figuring out how to get there and getting the help that you need to do that as well. That's part of bouncing back. And sometimes it's not bouncing back, it's bouncing forward, because you may have to shift and do something different and do something new. We've been learning about mindset shifts for just about 2 years now, and it has made a major impact on both me and Coach Charmin. There are things that we say, things that we do that we would have never done before. But truly, when The Bible says that you'll be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You may have to do something new. You may have to start thinking about something new. I've learned that just because of the way that I grew up with my parents, and they meant well, and I honor them, there were some things that I learned that was not for me. They tried to teach me the right way, which they did, but it just was not for me. It may have been for them or not. Right? You learn how to bounce back from different situations that may come. Coach Charmin and I were talking about generations and how the different generations will bounce back or not, and how they bounce back. So the silent generation, or the baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, and Gen Z, and now we have Gen Alpha, I believe. How these generations just shifted over time. How the baby boomers and the silent generation were more compliant and they listened, and then Gen X came along and say, "Wait, why are we doing this like this?" And they started questioning things, and the generation before would call us out as being rude or disrespectful. No, we see what we see and we're saying something, while the previous generation saw what they said and they kept silent, or they found it to be respectful. Here comes the millennials. What'd you say? Oh no, that's not right. Why? They were the why. Why? Why and no. And Z is like, we're not doing this. This is what we're doing. And for the Gen Z generation, I have respect for them because they also set a lot of boundaries, and their yeses are their yeses and their nos and then are their nos. I believe that they are still teachable, but you have to make it make sense. Just like every generation is teachable, every generation is able to be resilient and bounce back and bounce forward, to just be better, to heal, right? So as we wrap up today's discussion on cultivating resilience, the Bitter to Beautiful mindset, remember, resilience is a skill that grows stronger with practice. Embrace the journey, lean on your community, and let every challenge teach you something valuable. Resilience is a powerful tool that not only helps us navigate difficult times, but also allows us to grow through them. It's about embracing the mindset shift that turns obstacles into opportunities. Coach Charmin?
Absolutely, Coach Lynette. Remember, with faith, a strong support system, and the right mindset, we can face any challenges that arise. Let's commit to cultivating resilience in every area of our lives, allowing us to transform bitterness into beauty. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Bitter to Beautiful. Remember to subscribe and to share this episode with someone who might need a little encouragement to stay resilient. See you next time.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude to you, our listeners. Transitioning from bitter to beautiful isn't just a moment, it's a movement, a continuous journey of transforming pain into power, one heart at a time.
And to all our first-time listeners, welcome to the family. We are a community of souls committed to healing, growth, and transformation. Click on the link in the bio to subscribe to our mailing list and tune in every week. When you subscribe, you'll also receive information about our live pop-up rooms on Clubhouse.
As we embrace life's journey and find the beauty in overcoming bitterness, remember, bitterness isn't beautiful, and your healing is just the beginning of a beautiful new chapter.
Don't forget, new episodes are released every Saturday. Whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or Listen Notes, there is a space for you here to find healing, inspiration, and strength.
Thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep embracing the journey. Keep healing and keep transforming. Here's to turning all our bitter experiences into beautiful victories. See you next time.